Good Shabbos from Mali Ephraim in the Jordan Valley. Want to share a teaching today from the kedushas Levi on this week's parsha of vaeschanan. In the parsha, Moses retells the giving of the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai, as well as other teachings to help the Israelites perform all of Hashem's mitzvahs when they enter into the land of Israel. And the kedushas Levi, Moses says to the people, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, as Hashem my God commanded me to do in the midst of the land." That's from Devarim 4. And the kedushas Levi says this will be understood based on the explanation of the verse, "The children of Israel did as God commanded Moses." And that he says actually in Shemot. So the underlying principle is as follows. God told Moses the commandments that he was to convey to the Jewish people. But the fact is that by hearing the command from the teacher, the Jewish people heard God's command from Moses. They were not imbued with the same lofty consciousness that Moses experienced when God had spoken with him. So actually, when God was giving over the commandments to the Israelites, after he gave over the first two, it said that the people couldn't handle receiving that holiness from Hashem, and asked Moses to intervene, and for Moses to hear from God, and then for Moses to tell the people. So they actually had the opportunity to hear everything from God, but their vessels weren't strong enough to be able to receive that. But Moses' vessels and holiness was able to receive this directly from God. So they heard the commandments from Moses indirectly from God, and as a result, they were not imbued with the same lofty consciousness that Moses experienced when God had spoken with him. But it was only later, after they performed the command of God, did they attain the level of consciousness that Moses had attained when he heard the command from the mouth of God. This, then, is what the verse, "The children of Israel did as God had commanded Moses," means. They did so with the same spiritual consciousness that was present when God had commanded Moses. They attained this level of consciousness only by actually performing the commandments. This is why it says, "They did," that is, they performed the commandment, and then it was with them, as it was when God had commanded Moses. So when Moses related to the Jewish people the directive of God, he did so with the same underlying consciousness that he had experienced when God had given him the command. However, the Jewish people were unable to grasp this level until they actually performed the commandments. Moses, however, for his part, did convey the consciousness that he had experienced when he received the command from God. This, then, is the deeper meaning of the verse, "I have taught you your statutes and ordinances Hashem my God has commanded." I'm communicating this commandment to you with the same consciousness. In order to preclude us from speculating that Moses was the one who attained this grasp of divinity, because he had performed the command, the verse goes on to explain to do so in the midst of the land. We know that Moses did not enter the land, and so could not fulfill the mitzvahs that are obligatory only in the land of Israel. So certainly he had comprehended on his own the spiritual consciousness underlying the mitzvahs God communicated to him, without having to actually perform the particular mitzvahs. So this is a very important teaching, because it teaches us that learning the mitzvahs, learning Torah, learning the commandments, only brings you so far, so close to Hashem. But it's actually, for us, not because we're obviously not at the level of Moses, we need to actually do the mitzvahs in order to actually understand them and to comprehend what God is really saying. So it's really through our actions that we're able to, our actions can help affect our hearts and our souls. Without just by learning is not enough. But we actually have to spend the time and actually invest the energy to actually fully do the mitzvahs. And by doing the mitzvahs, we will comprehend what God's intent is for us. So have a good Shabbos, and this is Shabbos nachamu. So may we all be consoled in this difficult time that we're facing, that Hashem is in charge, and that all that Hashem does is good, and may it be revealed to us immediately. Good Shabbos.